This is a recording made for Resilient Greenfield by Dr. Michael Rawlins, a state expert in climate patterns and projections.
Human-caused climate warming is causing many changes in our climate system, globally and across Western Massachusetts. How is Franklin County's climate expected to change? Across our region, we're seeing losses in snow cover. Snow cover reflects a lot of the sunlight. So there's a warming feedback. That's why the Arctic is warming 2 to 3 times more than the global average. So annual mean temperature has exceeded the 20th century average every year in Franklin County since 1993. In the next 50 to 60 years, winter and summer temperatures will warm by approximately 4 to 5 degrees Fahrenheit under the modest emissions scenario. Under the higher emissions scenario, sometimes referred to as business as usual, warming across Massachusetts may be closer to 6 or 7 degrees Fahrenheit relative to pre-industrial times. So think about the recent warm winters over the recent past 5 or 6 years. They will be the coldest winters later this century. So think of your very, very hot summers in recent years. They will be among the coldest summers in the future. Puts a perspective on how future temperatures compare to what we've recently experienced. We can use the heat index, the combination of air temperatures and humidity, to get an idea of how our climate in Western Massachusetts will feel relative to other areas of the country that we're familiar with. By end of century, under a higher emission scenario, Massachusetts may feel more like South Carolina. Along with the increasing temperatures has come extreme heat events, more days above 90 Fahrenheit, more days above 100 Fahrenheit. By the end of the century, we can expect a sharp increase in the number of heat-related emergency room visits under a high emission scenario. Again, should we not mitigate adequately our use of fossil fuels? The climate has become wetter across Massachusetts. So we're seeing increases in annual total precipitation, both rain and snow, over the last several decades. That trend is clear when we look at the data. Along with this increase in annual total precipitation, and for that matter, seasonal precipitation, comes an increase in extreme precipitation events. So the Northeast US has seen a greater increase in the number of extreme precipitation events compared with other parts of the US. So there's been an approximately 70% increase in the number of extreme precipitation events. Tropical cyclones form over and feed off of hot ocean water. The world's oceans, including the Western Atlantic, have been record warm over the past year. In recent decades, there's been an increase in major hurricanes attributable to warmer oceans. Warmer ocean water adjacent to the U.S. East Coast provides an environment that can allow tropical cyclones to maintain their strength as they move north. This increases the risks of landfalling hurricanes in our region. Tropical systems are known to produce excessive rainfall and elevated risks of extreme flooding. Excessive precipitation in March throughout southern New England on the heels of a very wet winter has created saturated soils. Impacts of the trend toward wetter weather are affecting homeowners and businesses, including farmers, who are increasingly facing the need to adapt to these changing environmental conditions. In addition to mitigation, we need to adapt because these climate changes are occurring. They will continue and likely accelerate. So some of the adaptation measures we can implement are expanding use of cooling centers in the summer when we have extreme heat events, expanded culverts when the Department of Transportation upgrades roadways. We need to restore forests to increase carbon sinks and reduce the amount of deforestation that's occurring. Smart land use planning is an important part of adaptation for climate change. Dam removals to restore natural flows. We need smarter building materials, less use of concrete and brick in building. We need smart management of groundwater and better means to adapt to wetter conditions. Of course, farmers will have a problem getting out in the fields. since it's been so wet lately. And the use of cisterns to store some of this excess precipitation for non-potable water uses, instead of allowing that water to run off into our streets, into our sewers, and then into our rivers and to the ocean, we can help to minimize further climate disruptions and catastrophes by working together to limit our influence on Earth's climate, namely the burning of fossil fuels. As a global community, we can contribute by supporting a more rapid transition to maximize the use of renewable energy sources and advocate for a less carbon-intensive way of life. We can help to enact change by educating our fellow citizens about our influence on climate and the ways we can adapt to the new conditions that we're experiencing.